Hey guys, it's cyoubx. Last time in my series for F2L tips and tricks, I ended the video showing you my thought process while doing F2L. And that was actually the conclusion for the basic set for tips and tricks. The reason for that is because if once you sort of follow those steps while doing F2L, you should be able to manage the rest of the cases yourself. And so really what sets apart the beginner F2L solver and the intermediate is the way you sort of influence the pieces as well as the way you actually insert your pairs. So the one that everyone knows, or hopefully everyone knows, if you've been doing this for a while, is just putting the pair away from the slot and inserting this way, so like that. But in this case it works because that would orient all of your edges for you. But what if you did the same thing in this case? Notice how these two edges aren't oriented correctly. A better way to do it would be to do an insertion like that, which I will go over. There's a lot of ways to do it. Here's another way, is to put the corner away from the slot as far as possible, which would be diagonally across, and then do a U2. But notice how this actually affects the corners and not the edges per se. So this is really useful for partial edge control in OLL, but it's actually equally important for influencing good or bad pairs during F2L. So at the end of this video, or near the end of this video, I will be doing some walkthrough solves for F2L just to show you what each insert actually does to the pieces. And you sort of have to pick your poison, and there's no real best way. It's basically a list of different things that you can do to solve your F2L more effectively. So in this video I'll be going over 3 cases, and you'll be responsible for actually managing the use of them. As you all know, this is the first case. It's where you put the white on the left and then the slot is on the right, and it's just an R, U prime, R prime. Very, very easy. The mirror of that, of course, on the left, L prime, U, L. That's case 1. The second case is this. Instead of putting the corner on the left of the slot, you want to put it directly over it. You want to just put this corner and edge into its spot, disregarding this. But of course you do have to bring this back, and so what you do is you essentially hide everything else so that this is a free layer, and you bring this edge back and restore everything. So I will show you again. Notice how you do end up with your front face more or less as your top face, but as long as you're holding the cube in a comfortable position, it's not a big deal at all. It's very, very fast. And with this, there's also the mirror. So here it's on the left, and you just you bring the pair down, you hide everything so that you can bring this back and you restore. So that's the second case. The last case is where you have this on the front, but normally for the previous 2 cases you needed to do a cube rotation to insert this, but you don't actually have to do that. So this is really useful if you see a case that can already be done without a cube rotation and you don't feel like doing it. As you may or may not know, using only left, up, and right will not change the orientation of any piece. So if you want to insert this, you can't use only these moves. You have to either do a cube rotation, or you can use the middle layer to do some pretty creative things. So what you can do here is you can actually grip both of these, and you can pull this down so it matches up, bring it back, and then you want to align this middle layer. So you bring this top back and you restore. So here it is again. And the mirror for this is like this. You grip both of the right layers and that brings everything back. Now that you know these three, there's another thing you should know before you actually use them, and it's actually about angles. If you don't want to learn the third case for insertion, don't worry about it. You don't need to know it. But what I will say is one cube rotation, either direction, is fine. But you should never be in a position where you have to do a Y2. That wastes more time than you think, actually. So what you should do is you should just learn how to insert pieces from a different angle. So normally you might do something like RU prime, R prime to insert this, but if you actually paired it up or found a pair that was in this position, don't do that. You can actually just do L, U, L prime, and that does the same thing. It's just a different angle. So if you're a beginner, this will be something that will actually drop your time a lot more than you think, because cube rotations do take up a lot of time. And actually, even for the third case, you could have done the same thing. You still grip both layers, but notice before it was the two left ones. Well, in this case it's the two right ones, but you're really doing the same thing. You bring both layers up, you match these, bring it down, and you restore the middle layer. So practicing the mirrors is fine, but you also want to practice different angles for doing the exact same cases, because that's going to help you in the long run. So finally, to finish off this tutorial, I am actually just going to do one example solve of F2L, sort of showcasing these different styles of inserting F2L pairs. Their actual significance is very difficult to explain in one video, which is why I'm going to be doing it in my next one, next week, which is about influencing bad pairs. I'm just going to sort of describe what I'm doing in the solve. So I already paired this up while I was talking, and I already know that I would need a cube rotation to insert this. So you might be thinking, well, why don't you do that third case where you use the middle slice? I most certainly could, but I also see these two, and so I know that if I insert with a cube rotation, it makes the second case a lot easier. And from there I know that both of these are empty, so I can break this up. And so this is a point where I may or may not do a cube rotation. Let's just knot and see what happens. And you get this, which was actually a really good idea. Here, do I want to do a cube rotation? I most definitely do, and the reason I do is because in OLL, in the last layer, I already see that I have 3 edges, and I know that if I do a cube rotation, I can get all 4. If I were stubborn and I chose to do this, I would only get 2. This is not a terrible case if you know full OLL, but if you don't know all your OLLs yet, then you definitely want to have as many edges as possible. So always go for all 4 if you can, and that's what inserting actually does. That's sort of what I think about during F2L, not just pairing the pieces, but actually consciously thinking about the next piece and trying to make a better case for myself. So thank you for watching that video. At this point, I'm pretty certain that I'm going to be making the advanced part of the series. I don't know how long it'll be, but it'll be at least one video, obviously. So thank you for supporting the series, and you will be seeing new videos on that part. More importantly, in this part of the video, I just want to announce that I'm really thinking about getting a new channel, and right now I'm 90% sure that I'm going to make it, but this is sort of your last chance to say no, don't do it if you really don't feel like it. So it'll be in the description, the whole thing that's happening, but in short, I don't really want to do any more vlogs on this channel. I want to move them to a new channel, and so that's just the plan. There's basically just one main question. Are you okay with that? Yes or no? It's really that easy. So if you could just leave a comment telling me about that, that'd be great. Do not expect a video next Friday. I'm probably going to take a week off because I have midterms already, so I'm going to have to study a little bit, or a lot. But next Friday you should see the next F2L video. So thank you for watching, and look out for my second channel that I'm probably going to make. So, toodles.